What's going on, YouTube? It's Film Culture with Caleb, and today we're going to be talking about Young Washington, another movie I went and watched recently. I wasn't ready to talk about it, and then stuff got in the way, and then I went and saw The Odyssey, and I thought The Odyssey would be better for viewership, because, chase that clout. Anyway, that was a joke there. But I don't have a lot to say about Young Washington, in a sense, just because, it's pretty straightforward to what it is. It's kind of like the Minions movie review I did. It's, very just, this is what it's about. So, Young Washington is about George Washington when he is in the French and Indian War. So, this is before the Revolutionary War. This is before his presidency. This is young, as the name of the movie says, Young Washington. Plot summary. If you haven't watched it yet, it's kind of you can figure it out really easily. Young Washington wants to be a British officer, goes out and he works for the Fairfaxes and navigates their land. Sees a British fort there. He goes back to the British, and the British say, "Hey, you go and you take a group of men and you tell them to leave." And so they do, and nothing happens of it. Then they send a letter back, and they say, "No, you need to march there with force, and you need to tell them." And so they march, but they move the camp, and they go to the camp, and someone fires a shot. We don't know who fired the shot to this day, but the British are massacred. Washington builds a fort. The British send a backup reserve of army. They are wiped out by the French. They surrender, and they're sent back to Virginia. Washington's kind of at a rough point right now where he's having a pity party, and he wants to be a good general, or he wants to be a good leader, but he's failing, and he kind of has a pity party. This is a part of the movie I didn't really care for. But, he's going through this, emotional crisis of, how can he lead well? What is a good leader? What mistakes he can learn from all of this. It's all really good lessons. It's just it's a little long, and it's a little bit, over dramatic. I think they dramatized Washington's story too much in this movie. And I'm not a big fan of drama. Drama movies are not my thing. And I'm not saying it's bad. If you don't mind, I think they added a little bit more than they needed to. Actually, wait, this is my YouTube channel. I think it is bad. I don't want to watch that much drama. Never mind. I'm going to speak my mind here. Another thing is, so he goes back, and he's not disgraced, but, he threatens to, retire, and he's like, "I'm not worthy of my position." And then the governor who was making him go out says, "Well, just the fact that you say you're not worthy of it means you're worthy of it." And so they send him back out there. Sorry, no, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Again, sorry guys, I don't do any of this scripted. I don't use a script. This was all just from the mind of an unmedicated ADHD man who's on so much caffeine. That's all jokes. But anyway, not the first part, because I do have it. Anyway, you get the point. So he goes and talks to General Gage, and General Gage he's like, "I know where the French are. Let me come with you." And so he's like, "Okay, so you can be an observer, you can come with us." So he goes. They meet the French, and they get ambushed by the French, and the French are using the Indians' tactics where they hide behind trees. They're not fighting honorably. The British are getting massacred. Someone calls a retreat. It was not General Gage. General Gage is left behind enemy lines. He and his men are proceeded. Well, he gets shot, and a lot of his men get shot. Washington finds General Gage and says, "You called the retreat." And he's like, "No, I did not. Now take my scarf and ride my horse. They'll believe that you are me, and rally my troops and save them." And so Washington leaves Gage, and he goes and he rallies up all the troops, and he pushes back the enemy, and he's able to beat the British. A decisive victory. He's earned the respect of his men, the respect of the British, and the respect of the French all in one day. And the end of the movie is him walking over to a group of Indians, and they're like, "What is your name?" And he's like, "Washington." And they're like, "Well, just so you know, I had some of my best warriors who never miss," which obviously they do miss. The chief is lying a little bit. This whole scene's a little, again, dramatized. But basically, yes, his best warriors who never miss, they say that they had shot at him multiple times, and he was guarded by a spirit of protection. or an aura of protection. I don't remember which one it was, but basically he's protected by the spirits, and that's where the movie kind of ends and it wraps up. Positives about the movie, because I don't like going. Actually, it depends. So I'll do positives of this movie first. Positives of this movie is acting's good. Andy Serkis, they brought some heavy hitters in. Andy Serkis, just one. I don't remember the other one's names. It's gonna kill me. But there's a guy from he's Mandarin in Iron Man 3. He is he's in the movie the Murder Mystery Breakfast Club. He plays one of the friends. He's in a few movies. If you've seen Iron Man 3, The Mandarin, you know who I'm talking about, the goofy guy. That's who's in this movie too. He's really good. Surprisingly good performances by all. So yeah, next is visually. For the budget they had, the movie looks decent. It's not great. I was expecting more. Here's the problem with making history movies PG is that they feel cheesy, because a history movie, especially a war movie, has to have the realism of the blood and the bloodshed and the tragedy of war and the what happens to men when they are put through hell like that. And this movie is very like kid friendly when it comes to the battles, and I understand why, because they want to make this movie for all ages. But for me, it turns me off. Like, I'd rather watch Hacksaw Ridge, where it actually shows me the brutality, just a glimpse. I mean, of course, unless I join the military, we are never going to see the brutality of war. But Hacksaw Ridge shows you a glimpse of what a soldier in World War II would have gone through in that battlefield, what they would have seen. And this movie doesn't feel like that. Like, the French and Indian War was gruesome. I mean, like, and I feel like you don't get that connection with Washington that way. Like, even in like an older movie like the 1950s To Hell and Back. To Hell and Back, they used red blood. They kept it all melatonin. But even To Hell and Back, because first of all, they actually got Audie Murphy to play Audie Murphy in his own movie, and second of all, they make the battles seem more gruesome. They actually kill people on screen. You see blood, and you see, even in the 1950s, even though the blood didn't look real, you were still more committed to that movie. And that's my one big problem with Washington, is I'm not committed to Washington as much. And that's probably a me thing, but as a fan of a lot of war movies, this war movie is not going to be in my top 10 at least. I can't put it in my top 10 because it just doesn't do it for me. It doesn't click the switches. It doesn't turn the knobs. But that's one of the big negatives that kind of got into a positive. I'm sorry, because I was doing positives first, but the girl who plays the lady, she's cool. Of course, he doesn't marry her. He marries Martha, or Mary, whatever George Washington's wife's name. It doesn't matter. It's his wife. Soundtrack is good. Soundtrack's really good. Budget for what they had was really good. They did a lot of things correctly. So I can't. Costume looked fine. Battlefield looked good. I mean, for what the budget that Angel Studios had, they did a really good job. So bravo to them. Bravo to them. I don't want to take anything away from that. Negatives from this movie, I already mentioned it. I feel like it was over PGized, over safed, or however you want to say it. Like, second, I know some people really, really, really liked the actor who played George Washington. I don't, because one, it's his first movie, so maybe his acting just wasn't up to par with like what I've seen from people. And two is what I've heard. I don't know if it's true or not, but Washington wasn't a looker most of the time, and so I find it funny how we always have to like we hire. I mean, of course, you want to hire, because sex sells, so obviously you want to hire attractive people to play people like that. But what I've heard, I don't know if this is true or not, is Washington wasn't like quite a good looker. He was kind of average, and which I feel like they picked a guy who he was attractive to sell more movie tickets. He made Washington look more. Anyway, that's probably not a critique. That's just me thinking about how movies and however that works. Um, past the PG fine of, I'm gonna call it the PG fine now, I guess. Past the PG fine of the battle scenes, I really liked the movie. That was my one big problem. Is just they made you like. Can you really have a war movie that's PG? Like, yes, you can, but you really have to sell it. I'm thinking of like John Wayne movies where like there's a few, but those are super unrealistic, and you kind of know, well, not super, but they're unrealistic, and you know they're unrealistic. Like you can look up videos of people critiquing these movies, saying this didn't happen, and so it's like, well, I mean, you can, but like true story is different than. So I feel like they could have done. I don't say the word I feel. I think they could have made it a little bit more intense, but have still kept it kid friendly. Yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say. I'm excited for part two. I really enjoyed this movie. I don't want to bash it too much because I did have actually a good time. I did enjoy this film. I'm excited for supposedly they're making 3 parts. I'm really excited for part 2 and part 3. And by the way, definitely Angel Studios' best movie so far. I'm gonna do a review where I go and I just like slam the living lights out of David. That movie is so grotesquely bad. That might have not been a good word there. It's really bad. It's a really bad film. It's one of my least favorite films of all time. Is the David film. I put it in my top 100 least favorite films. Anyway. That's all I have to say. Sorry for the 11-minute rant, but I hope I enlightened you today with this review. And, yeah, that's all I gotta say. Let me know if there's any, movies you want me to review, any questions you have for me, any slander or hatred. I love it. I love when people comment. Anyway, peace out, guys.